Welcome back, everybody, to Rob's MetalWorks. We are here at the home studio on a Friday night to continue our work here in the region in support of some of the best bands our city and state has to offer. This evening, we are delivering a band that you've heard me talk about and mention so much in our socials this past quarter. It brings me great pleasure to welcome the fellas in Voltreus. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, great to finally have you here. So much ground to cover. And I think first and foremost, I'm going to share with everybody out there, and I know they know that I'm just a fan of the band. You guys know I'm a fan. And, every time I have a chance to plug you guys or to talk about you guys, I've done it. And really, that's just because I'm a fan. And I love what you guys are doing. And I love your vibe. I love the music, of course. And I love your shows. So I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for coming tonight and bringing me some goodies, okay? I love it. And I love more even talking and engaging with bands. So first of all, I know that, just because we've kind of had a chance to build some rapport in the past several weeks, I know a little bit about some of your background. But for the people tonight all over the world who will watch this interview, let's kind of start there and let's talk a little bit about the formation of this band, because I already know that, we have some very diversified backgrounds here. So, Tyler, why don't you start it off for us and tell us a little bit about how kind of Voltreus came together?
Honestly, I feel like Ferni would be a better person to talk to.
So I was with this dude right here in the last band called Terrestrium, and that band didn't really work out, and we were just kind of like in a stage where we had like writer's block, and it just wasn't working out. Like some members just weren't showing up to practice, so I met this guy in Austin at Come and Take It Live.
At a show?
At a show. We saw Wage War.
Wow.
You know Wage War?
No.
Oh, they're good. You gotta check them out. And we started jamming, and I brought this dude along, and then we just wrote our first song, which is Relinquish, actually. Relinquish was our very first song before we got this little bully right here. And yeah, that's pretty much how we started. And then I went on Craigslist looking for another guitarist. I bought a guitarist on Craigslist. And it was Saul, who was in our band. He was an original member. And then I found this guy on Facebook. Yeah. But it's funny because I tried to get him in my last band too as a vocalist, because we were looking for vocalists, because I did vocals. He did vocals in our last band as well. Oh, okay. And yeah, that's pretty much how we started.
And so it was David like, oh, I'm a badass drummer.
Yeah, no.
I mean, how do you kind of like? It's kind of cool because everybody wants to be in a band, right? So you meet dudes and like, yeah, I play bass, I play drums, but like, you want good guys in your band, So how do you kind of vet people, so like when you first jam with David, like he kind of like, well, were you impressed by his playing, or?
Yeah, like we kind of just clicked. Like I think we started like messing with something like the first day we met.
It was definitely all like by chance, like for sure. It was like meant to be in a way.
That's the beauty of it, yeah.
Perfect time, perfect place. It's just crazy how everything just falls into place sometimes.
I'm one of those people that I do believe in fate. And that's why earlier tonight when I was telling you guys, like, don't fuck up the chemistry that you got, by, doing, crazy stuff just because you want to try it out. I think you guys have a lot of momentum going on and great things. And then, gosh, what did y'all think when you started jamming with Tyler? Because Tyler's voice is probably one of the most unique voices in our scene, and like I can hear you anywhere, bro, and I'm like, I know that's you.
Well, I gotta, like, when I first tried out for the band,
were you singing like that?
No.
Because I've heard we're gonna talk about Solace in a bit, and you weren't doing some of that in Solace.
No. So I was a guitarist when they brought me in. I had done like a couple covers. I was doing incorrect like vocals on covers and stuff like that, and so I had done those covers to try to get out there and possibly do something, but nothing ever like worked for me. And so when I tried out for the band, it had been like 2 years since I'd done that in the first place, and I blew my vocal cords right there on the spot, very first tryout. And that's when I was like, I got to really start taking this seriously if this is going to work. So I changed everything up.
Sounded good to us, though.
Wow. You talked about your other guitar player who's kind of left the band for whatever reason. And I remember when I saw you guys and I was first introduced to the band last year at the 2022 battle for Vakin. That was the first time I ever had kind of heard of you guys and saw you guys. But right away, I was kind of intrigued, you know. And back then, you were a 5-piece.
Yep.
And then later on, I saw, oh, well, now they're a 4-piece. And it seems to me, like I just said, I kind of like the 4-piece better. It seems like it's a more streamlined kind of lineup. When I see you play live, there's more equilibrium and balance in the performance. And I really, really like that, you know, and I think that's so important. So has the decision kind of been made? I didn't want to speak for you, but I mean, is that what we're going to see moving forward, you think?
It's kind of looking that way.
Yeah.
It's looking that way.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows, like maybe like in the farther future, like we've talked about possibly bringing someone in, like once we get a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But as of right now, we're not even looking currently.
Good for you. Good for you. What about the name Voltreus? We kind of touched upon that off camera.
Yeah, that's all him right here.
Oh yeah, well.
I was saying it wrong. I'll be the first to admit. When I first started saying, I was saying Voltreus, and then I remember Clifton Mouse said Voltreus. I'm like,
Voltreus.
Oh yeah, Voltreus.
I did the same thing when I first tried out for the band. I was like, so Voltreus, right? And they're like, no.
So we try to find something that really like meant something to us and wanted to make us stand out, and kind of a way to show that we are like serious about what we do and that we're in it for the long haul. So we took some words in Latin and we combined them to create Voltreus, which means rise to be king. So that's kind of how we see ourselves. You know, we were in this for the long haul, so we want to.
And I think names are important.
Yeah.
Super fucking important. And when I heard Voltreus, I was like, yeah, Voltreus, Pantera,
cool.
right? It's hard. It's hard to say, a weird ass name like King of the Crown. It don't work, right? It don't fucking work. So Voltreus is great. Very cool. In my introduction, and I thought about this today, I was remiss not to say, brand new thrash metal band Voltreus, because to me, even though I know you guys like thrash, Voltreus musically is really a diverse kind of beast. So what do you say when people say, like, oh, what's your genre? What do you say?
So we used to say progressive metalcore, like that's what we said. But then you get too many people like, oh, what do you mean by that? And we didn't even know what we meant by that. It just sounded good. So we just say metal. Honestly, we're just like, yeah, we're a metal band. It just encompasses everything. No questions asked at that point. So
all right.
You got to kind of see us in order to like fully understand.
It's like we're our own fucking genre. Voltreus metal.
Voltreus metal.
We're Voltreus metal, man. Yeah, good. Okay, cool. I mean, because I hear so much stuff. I hear melodic stuff. I hear like, thrashy stuff, and then I hear like death metal stuff with your crazy vocals, bro. It's like crazy. I'm like, damn, yeah, it's all over the place. But I think that's also too one of the things that really attracted me to the band is like you guys have your own sound already, and that's so important, because it takes years for bands to develop their own sound, and you guys have kind of done it pretty quickly. So how long after you guys were together, the core of this band was together, did you guys release the Solace EP? Was that pretty quickly?
So we started jamming like right before like the whole lockdown happened, and that's when we started writing already. Like we had Collapse, Unseen, and False Prophet already done before he joined the band. And
the vocals for False Prophet changed.
Oh yeah, and the
lyrics for False Prophet, I wrote those just as like a kind of a warm up into the band, and then we wrote Solemn Time shortly after that.
That I think those Unseen and Solemn Time are like my two favorite tracks. Do you guys play? I know you guys play Unseen live. Y'all play Solemn Time live?
We got away from it for a while there because we didn't fully know like what we were as a 4-piece at the time.
Yeah.
And so we kind of like pushed it off to the side for a little bit. But we've been playing it a lot more lately.
Yeah.
We've been playing it a lot more lately. But back to the original question with the when we released, I joined in April of 2021. Yeah. And so we recorded in June and then we put it out in like September. And our first show was like late August of that year. And so
wow.
it was kinda
like
boom,
really
boom, boom,
quick.
let's go. So
That's cool. And there was 4 songs on the Solace EP. Is that still available?
yep.
Where can people get it at?
All streaming platforms all over the place.
Yeah. All right. And thank you, Tyler, because I didn't even know that existed until the other night when you told me.
I sent it to you, didn't I?
Yeah, I got it.
Did you get all 4 of them?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got it.
Yeah.
I've been jamming it. And
You could hear the difference in a lot of stuff, though.
I can. I mean, I was expecting the production not to be, as good, kind of as a first offering. I didn't know where you guys had recorded, but you told me that Mora had done it,
Yep.
Chris Mora?
Yep.
Yeah. How did you guys hook up with Chris Mora? How did y'all know about him, or?
Honestly, I mean, I played with him in like other shows, like growing up, my first couple bands, and I heard that he did like Upon and Burning Body and stuff, and I was like, well, their stuff sounds good.
Yeah.
Let me shoot him a
What
message.
band was he in? Was he in Darkness
He was in-
Divided?
He was in Darkness Divided and
Yeah.
Charcoal Tongue, and I think
Yeah.
something else.
Charcoal Tongue, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I shot him a message on Instagram or Facebook, and I got us in.
Yeah, Chris is a mastermind, and I've known that guy for a long time. I knew him when he was a kid, and I remember when he was when the first Darkness Divided record came out. I was really impressed by his playing. He's a great guitar player, and I always used to tell him. I've told the story a zillion times, but
I remember you telling me.
I always used to tell him, dude, you're like the future of metal guitar in San Antonio. You're it, man. I used to tell him that all the time. And then, of course, things change, and he became one of those people that was working on the back end, and his work. I've heard a lot of his work, and it's really good. Yep. He can be like a serious dude, and sometimes you need a serious dude. But great guy. And that's good, man. I love the Solace EP. I'm gonna jam it more. I jammed it for a little bit, but it was cool that I think you guys put something out in the market right away. How did you feel the reception was like when you first kind of came out as Voltreus? Because San Antonio can be, I don't want to say a competitive scene, but it can be an inundated scene.
You want to get this one?
Honestly, like, I felt like it was received, like, that's probably, like, our most exciting, like, release that we've had. Like, still, like, even with the new stuff we've put out, putting out that EP was just, like, it was kind of, like, stamping our name on,
for sure,
like, even if it was like a small little piece of history, it's like, oh, hey, we're here, we're like
Yeah,
officially a band,
for sure.
And so the reception of that was actually like a lot better than we expected. Solemn Time kind of shot off for a little bit there, and so
I like that one.
Yeah, and which I'm not from San Antonio, so we got a lot of views from outside of San Antonio
Nice.
too, and so we got a lot of reception from like DC, Florida, Las Vegas, Australia, England.
Nice.
So that was really cool to see, especially like in the moment, because
Right.
I'm sitting there watching in the moment. Your first release, you're like sitting there staring at the phone. So
I still do.
yeah, I do. I kind of do it too. I'm not gonna lie. But
How many views does our video have?
Yeah.
How many likes? Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. The age of social media, and like I was talking to you guys earlier about, the old days when the labels would send out hard copy stuff. And nowadays, everything has changed. The market's changed. Marketing has changed. How bands are perceived as successful has changed. So, you guys as being, to me, like one of the young, new generation bands in our scene, obviously, are in tune with that. And that's great as young people. You alluded to the first single, kind of, I guess, of the new Voltreus that came out last year. And we're going to talk about that here in a bit. But you were like, Rob, you heard our old stuff, and we're still developing. So how do you kind of feel that you've evolved since the Solace days as a band, or individually as a musician and stuff like that? How has the band kind of changed for the better? Obviously, I think over time you get better with your instruments and stuff. You get better with all the gear and the tools that you use to play, but and also with the cohesiveness of playing in a band longer, right?
Honestly, like from my standpoint, because I can't speak for everyone on this, but from my standpoint, I see we're not afraid to just do something anymore. Like before, it was, well, I don't know if that fits with all the other songs we have. I don't know if this, and so now it's just like, hey, we kind of like the way this sounds. Let's just go with it. And then like once we get it to a point where we're like, okay, yeah, we like this. This is what we're doing. That's when we just start toying with it, and then just start getting reception from other people, showing people little like snippets of recordings and stuff like that, see what they feel like. And on top of that, everyone in the band has grown like
for sure,
like big time. So that's been a big help for like where we've gone as a band.
Oh yeah, well, it blew my. I'm brain fogged now because it kind of just like.
Come on, Devin. I think I need to give you a shot of Blackened.
Devin's
I
our
need a
shy
shot
guy.
of Blackened to loosen up.
No, I had something to add to it, but then you furthered what you were saying, and it wasn't about that anymore. So I was trying to like comment, and then it didn't happen. So.
It's okay, Devin. All right, so anybody else want to add to that? Dave, do you want to add anything to the evolution?
Well, I just think, for sure, our chemistry definitely is a big part of it. And finding the right guys in a band is very important. Especially you have to all be on the same page,
Yeah.
That really helps with the ease of the writing process.
And too, like, the chemistry part is, like, you can't fake that. You can't really kind of manipulate that. It has to just kind of be there.
Naturally.
Right, naturally, yeah.
So our chemistry. So like we have like different group chats and like an iPhone chat and non-iPhone chat.
Oh,
like
God.
And a Facebook chat and Instagram, and we could be like arguing in one chat, but then like be sending like jokes in another chat. So like that's just how we are.
What does Devin say?
2 + 2 = 4.
No, it's a little bit more diverse than that. I'm really kind of like trying to conceptualize the whole, like from start to go. I've been playing with Ferni for a long time.
Yeah.
And so growth is definitely something that is like at the forefront of it. I think with Terrestrium, it was definitely, we had a lot of elements that we wanted to try to get at, but we weren't with the right people.
Mm-hmm.
And I've watched this man turn into like a beast with like dedication. I've never seen somebody that's like more committed to something. He just has stuck with what he's wanted to do. And like, I was like really resonating with that. It inspired me quite a bit.
For sure.
I'm very, very passionate about like what I do. And I kind of just wanted to do it a different way. I guess I would say I'm kind of like influenced a little bit by like Cliff and then like Peter Hook, and so just like that higher end style of playing, and so it kind of just meshed really well with what he did, and we just kept moving, but we always like stayed together. And then when he and Fox and I jammed, like that was just like, I was like, wow, this is crazy. But then of course, like they mentioned earlier, the pandemic happened and I couldn't go for like, was it like a year?
Yeah, it was in, what were you, lockdown? Yeah, and we had a different vocalist as well too,
Right.
but and it didn't work out. He left the band, and I kind of stepped up as like the clean vocalist or whatever, and I was like, I can't do this. I can't like sing and play guitar.
Yeah.
But then it kind of stuck whenever he joined the band, because he said that you didn't sing, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well I guess I'm stuck singing now. So I had to like kind of force myself to like sing and play guitar, and then.
But that's the thing that I think that really kind of hits it for me as far as evolution goes, is that every day is a new day with us, but like we are all so dedicated that you never know what's going to happen when we get in there. Like every time we start writing, we kick out like a whole song in that day,
Right.
just because like we all have like a vision in our head. We have so much that we want to like get out there, and then you're just playing and you're jamming along, and then you notice like, oh, Fernie's starting to play what I'm playing, and then we look at each other, and then like he matches in just like seamlessly, and then it just starts going, and then all you hear is like over here, and it's just like, ooh, it's just like, and then they've kind of all started like looking at me a lot, because in practice, because when something hits, I'm just like I lose it. I go crazy. Yeah.
He's the gauge.
He's like, it's so funny because the way he is right now is how he is like all the time. He's very shy until we do something that's like what we feel is going to be really big, and then we all just do this, like we all just go, and then you'll hear him like out of the like, not even like with our ears in or anything like that. You'll just hear him. And you just look over and you see Devin super excited about something that one of us did, and it's like, okay,
That's why we only have 5 songs out.
No.
Well, I think each one of you are very talented guys, and Dave, I've been calling you Dave, but I know your name, they call you Fox. But I was really impressed, I think, with the last show that I saw of yours at the Vibes Underground, and because I had never really kind of seen you live, really paid attention, and great, you're a great drummer, bro.
Thank
and
you so
all
much.
of you guys are great, and I think too, Dev, if you, hopefully, like I said, forget the second guitar player and kind of, step up on those areas that maybe where that second guitar player should be with some of that high stuff that you like doing, and develop some of that. And I think you guys already have all the tools necessary to kind of, continue the evolution of Voltreus, and we saw a definite evolution with the release of Relinquish in 2022. I was like blown away. Even back when that single came out, because I'd seen you guys like, yeah, these dudes they're on the right track. And then when I heard Relinquish, I was like, oh fuck. I was like, yeah, I want to work with these dudes. I'm a fan. And I remember I jammed that single a lot. I can't even remember how I got. Did you send that to me too?
Yeah, so it's really funny because like I was walking out of the bathroom, you were walking in, and you're like, oh hey, and I was like, oh hey, and then but then you asked like what we were doing, and so I emailed you while we were still at the venue.
Yeah. Oh, that was at the Vakken, right?
Yeah.
Was that the Vakken?
Yep.
Yeah, last year. So when you sent me the single, I didn't really know what to expect, and I loved it. So to me, though, that song just really resonated with me because it said it was like, okay, here we are Voltreus. This really embodies who we are as a band and a lot of things that we can do as a band. Were you guys happy with how it came out and everything with the single?
Yeah.
And how people kind of. I know that nowadays, we're releasing bands are releasing singles, and as they kind of want to stay, relevant in the market. But I kind of felt that single really kind of helped build the foundation to where you are today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That single has like a weird place for us, but like honestly, I love it specifically because it was the change.
Yeah.
Like, that single literally was the change. Like, that was the whole point of that song, and the way we rewrote it, because we had, like, reworked it and everything, was to, like, more encompass, like, the sound from before, but with our new talent that we've had. And so, but once that happened and the single started going through, we had, like, a big change with the band and everything. So, like, the song, we're a little, like, with it. But honestly, like, I can say I love it because it was like the start of a change with us.
It's kind of like the launching pad for where you guys now. I don't know why you're saying that. I love that song.
Oh no, we love
I love that song.
We love playing it and everything. There was just like a really weird spot for like Voltreus as a band during that. So that's why I was like, But like in reality, we do like the song. It's just like it just represents like a weird part of our history.
And again, Mora did that single.
Yep.
So, let's kind of move on to 2023 now. And I was happy, and I remember when I spoke with you, you were like, Rob, we're going to do singles. And like I just said, it kind of seems like that's the way that most bands are going now. We don't want to blow our wad all, so quickly. And then, people aren't even talking about our record anymore. So it kind of seems like that's the smart thing to do nowadays, with how fast people are consuming information and music, and then moving on. So you guys released Blur last month, right? In January, at the end of January. I was there for the release show. I thought Blur's an amazing fucking song. Talk a little bit about how these kind of new songs, and I say new, because I'm on the outside, but like Blur, and we'll talk a little bit about Separatum. Scrotum. Something. Were these tracks written at the same time of the Relinquish time?
Yeah, mostly.
Or after Relinquish?
Well after.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, we all really started getting really into like a hardcore kind of style. Like Knock Loose was like on rotation for Fernie and I, like he got me into a different shade of blue and I like fell in love with it. And then so we all just were going through like a transitional point too. And we had a lot of like pent up emotions and stuff that we just wanted to express and get out there, and kind of feeding into like how everybody has like a short attention for like music now, and like singles being the way to go. Like Blur is just like in your face. Like the first thing you hear is like, he's just in it and it's gone. And so, I mean, I just really think it was just where we all wanted to go at that time. And now it's kind of like grooving again. So.
And that was like a really interesting thing too, because we didn't like he started listening to Knock Loose, Body Snatcher and stuff like that. And I was getting into like Spite and Body Snatcher, like a lot of those like really hardcore inspired bands and stuff. But it wasn't like a thing where we were like, hey, we should just check out the same bands. It just happened to be like we were having like similar songs on repeat, and we're like, that means something, let's do something with that. And so that's kind of how Blur became, well, Blur.
Yeah, really heavy track. Go ahead, Fern.
So Blur and Separatum, we kind of wrote those at the same time, and they have like two different sounds to them. Like I feel like Separatum is more of like the Trivium style that we have, and Blur is just more like straight to the point, hardcore, heavy, and stuff that we plan on doing more in the future as well.
I'm glad you're sharing that. I hate to ask that question. I hate to like, what are your influences? I hate to ask that question.
I love that question.
Oh, really?
I could talk about it all day.
Especially here, because none of us have the same influences
at
all. Like they're like complete.
Well, go ahead and share. I guess a few.
But
I mean, I know. Off camera, we were talking about Trivium and stuff like that.
Well, of course, I am a groovy drummer, so I love Pantera. I love definitely all the heaviness, definitely more groove oriented, and then I have my thrash influences like old, of course, Megadeth, Metallica, Judas Priest, all the old really heavy hitters.
Wow, yeah.
My favorite. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
a lot
cool.
of shuffle too. I grew up on a lot of blues and different extra stuff that I like to incorporate to my drumming as well to add some feeling and flavor.
Yeah.
Then like on the complete like different end, like when I joined the band, I was like, I gotta get better at screaming. Let's go. So I started like diving into like Infant Annihilator, Shadow of Intent, Signs of the Swarm, like all the like heaviest bands I could possibly bring up. Like I was just listening to them over and over and over again and trying to pick up like different things with my ear for like my vocals. And so that's kind of where that came from. But at the same time, like my clean style, I think is the one part where you and I kind of like really mesh well there, because mine is like Linkin Park, Breaking Benjamin kind of stuff. And I know that feeds into yours.
Yeah, like for me, it's like Bullet for Valentine, Breaking Benjamin, Hoobastank, and like a lot of classic heavy metal or hard rock like AC/DC and Scorpions. I think Scorpions. Yeah, someone had a shirt on of Scorpions. But yeah,
and with me, I'm kind of an outlier a little bit. I like all the stuff that's been listed before, and then I kind of go off on my own. My dad had a lot of 80s influence on me, so I really kind of clung to The Cure, Depeche Mode, New Order, Joy Division were like the main ones, and then kind of getting more into like a metal, it's Nine Inch Nails, Pretty Hate Machine, like that kind of more electronic vibe to it. Like that kind of influenced my Separatum stuff for that intro that we did. I do a lot of my own electronic music that I've been doing on the side, so that's something that I plan on trying to integrate more. They've been really receptive with the idea, but like everything in that for sure.
So the Blur single was officially released at the end of last month. At the end of this month, you're going to release the Separatum single, and it was kind of I thought it was a little weird because when I've seen you guys play, you play that song already. You're already playing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we're gonna finally release the recording out, and that's coming up on February 24th.
Yep.
So all you people out there, be sure to look for the new single. Be sure to pick it up at all your music outlets, wherever you buy your music. For these 2 new tracks, though, you decided to record with Fernando Lemus.
Yes.
And people in our scene know Fernando Lemus. I've interviewed him before and spoke about him when I interviewed Cliff. Obviously, he's a great drummer. He drums with Lions at the Gate now, and he has his studio. Mm-hmm. So how did you guys kind of transition to Lemus, and what was it that kind of helped make that transition?
Well, honestly, like I feel like for that, it was kind of weird because I think you and me messaged about it at one point. We heard one of his mixes and we just liked the aggressive style that he had with his mix. Mm-hmm. And with like Blur being an aggressive song, that was very necessary for that. And that kind of translated over to Separatum as well. And so when we heard him, we contacted a bunch of people. Clifton Miles, we had contacted him. We talked to Chris Mora again. We talked to
Corey Brunner.
Yeah, Corey Bruneman. Yeah, and we talked to Machine Shop and everything like that. But we settled on Lemus because he does a lot of like social media stuff too. Which the biggest part of a band, the hardest thing in my opinion, is content.
Sure.
Because you need content at all times, and so he was offering more content.
I'll videotape you and stuff like that.
So
yeah.
It's just like, oh well, we're getting double the content in one sitting.
For sure. That's just kind of part of his deal, right?
Yep. And then
come record and I'll video and everything.
Yep. And then just like you're just sitting in his studio chilling, and he's just like this really chilled dude.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Yeah, he's got that vibe.
He's a sweetheart of a dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very cool dude. I know what you're talking about. He has a great vibe.
Yeah.
Great vibe. He's a young cat. He's in the scene. He's involved in music. He can relate, and obviously can provide a lot of insight too.
Not afraid to answer questions at all. Like
Yeah.
we've asked so many.
Well, he knows. I'll tell you something. I'm not afraid to say it on camera. It's honest to God truth. You know how he got the Lions in the Gate gig?
Mm-mm.
The guitar player, Aru Luster, mm-hmm. He used to play with Machine Head. He did a sound of Supercharger record. Aru and I go back, and Aru saw the interview that I did with Lemus, and he said, "Hey, this guy seems like a cool dude and a badass drummer," and he contacted Lemus. And that's how Lemus got in the band, because he saw the Rob's MetalWorks interview.
That's crazy.
That is true. And Lemus never came out and said anything about it. But Aru told me, and then eventually Lemus told me. But I was like, hey, man, it's all fate, bro. That's what I'm talking about. It's all fucking fate. Everything that happens. Oh, yeah. A lot of the great things that happen for people in bands, sometimes it's just like being in the right place at the right time. Yep. And it's luck, and sometimes it's just fate, man. And I believe in all that shit. And he got the gig. Well, I mean, he didn't get the gig because of the interview, but he got an audition because of the interview. Yep. And then he got the gig because of his skills.
Yeah. I used to watch him when I was in high school all the time, too.
Yeah.
So, I was, a fan. I had, my little moment with him, too.
Yeah.
Because I've always been, a fan of drummers, and I used to watch, drum covers on YouTube, in middle school and high school. And this was a long time ago. That's 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So it was cool that we got to work with him.
Yeah.
We have the same name too.
And we have the same name.
Same with our
Oh yeah,
I don't like
Fernando.
my name. I go by Ferni.
Ferni. Tyler, tell us a little bit about some of the lyrical content of these tracks. Because I hear when I can understand what you're singing, I can relate to some of it, but it seems like it's a kind of really deep, emotionally kind of scarred domain you're coming from.
So for Blur, I wanted that song to sound like the dude was a murderer, but in reality, that whole song is literally about mosh pitting. And so when you look at the lyrics, it's about punching someone in the face, knocking people down, and stuff like that. But Separatum's lyrics, I drew inspiration from our old song False Prophet, where it has that more religious side. Not it's not about religion, but it talks about things through a religious metaphors. And so I was I kind of like the way we did that. And now that we're moving forward, I kind of want to keep a little bit of that with us. And so Separatum is about just that's the song that we wrote about Yeah.
Yeah, it's like life has like its different paths, and like if you can go down one path, like it might not lead to like where you want to be, and like it has many different like really what's it called, like meanings to it.
Sure.
So, but the main one is more about that religion.
It's because like I feel like songs, I can tell you what a song is about all day long.
It'll
But in
be
reality,
totally something.
there's like right now there's 8 billion different ways to like see a specific song.
Sure.
You know, because there's 8 billion people.
Sure.
So everyone's gonna see it in a different light. So what it means to me might not be what it means
Exactly.
to him or him or him.
Exactly.
And so we kind of like bring that together to talk about it first. And so, but separatum, like separatum samite is not Italian, Latin, which means separate paths.
Yeah.
So that's what we were like trying to write about, because there's a lot of reasons for that one.
Yeah, and that happens, you know, in life, you know, and as you get older, you know, you might have been close to someone in the past and they just went a different route, man. It's not your route.
Yep.
And honestly, that's kind of what inspired it. Like, I mean, I went through a breakup during that time, so like it kind of inspired like, okay, well, I mean, we might be going different ways and stuff, so like someone can relate to it that way as well.
Yeah.
I mentioned the band part.
On the
We
band
had
as well, like
multiple members come through
Sure,
and leave,
sure.
and so it's like, well, this just isn't. Yeah.
We're not jiving.
With me, it's kind of like making your own path as well, because I'm an educator as well, and then I'm also in this band, and I'm always kind of like anxious about, like, let's say we have this huge tour that just happens, and now like what am I going to do about my class? Because like I'm very, very passionate about learning, and I've always wanted to just like help people. I've helped my brother and sister since they were very young, and that's kind of what like got me into that idea. And it's like, if I couldn't be a musician, I'd want to be an educator. And
Now you're both.
Yeah, now I'm
And
both.
you can be both.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
far, yeah. But it's just like, if it pops off here, I really don't want to lose this side of my life either. Like, I feel like I'm all of it, all encompassing. So I'm making my own way between the paths is what I'm trying to do.
And I would encourage all of you too. Like, I'm so happy to, you know, to hear Tyler say like, yeah, you know, I'm going to school and I'm doing the band, and you know, all of you guys have your jobs and your careers, and that's great. You can do everything. You can do everything. Off camera, I'll tell you my little time when I was like doing everything, and you know, I used to be like super crazy busy, but I loved it, and that's kind of who kind of helps formulate who we are as people. Great songs. I love how you guys are releasing these singles. You were telling me more singles coming.
Yeah.
So
lot
let's
more.
talk about what's going to be happening,
So-
you know, this summer. And it's like, it's cool because you guys have the content and you're just fucking feeding everybody.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's going to forget about Voltreus this year.
Yeah.
And that's great. That's great.
Yeah, we're really hustling this year. Like every month we're doing like at least a show or two, and then we're putting out a single or we're doing a video for it. We're just pushing. We have it mapped out all the way to the end of the year.
That's great.
We're really trying to gun with it.
You have your strategic plan.
So, because right now I go to school full time.
Yeah.
And I've told you I've retired. So I kind of just sit, and now music is up here all the time. So when everything's popping off, when we're like done releasing Blur, for example, what's next? What are we doing now? And so sitting down and actually trying to make plans, and then bringing it up to these guys, hey, this is what I think we should do. What do you guys think? And then they give their input, and then it just makes that plan a lot better. So now we're planning on 7 to 9 singles by the end of the year.
Wow. So what Separatum will come out at the end of next month?
This month.
This month.
This month.
And then what do you guys have for March and April?
March, we're
Can
trying
you
to
say yet? I mean,
March,
if
So
you can't say titles yet, that's fine. I
no, I
understand.
mean that's fine. For March, we decided to take like that month off from like releasing, because I figured like that's like the busiest month
sure.
for music, like festivals, and tourings. Yeah, and then we also have the back in South by Southwest and stuff.
Yeah.
So like we don't want it to get lost in the mix and stuff.
Sure.
So we decided just to go in the studio that month, and we also have like playthrough videos that we plan on releasing during that month, and hit the studio at the end of that month, or the middle of that month, and then hopefully release the next 2 singles within the next 2 months of that.
April and May.
Yep.
April. Can you share any titles yet or no?
Yeah, so Jaded and Desolation. Those are the 2
Jaded
titles.
and Jaded will be in first in April,
Jaded will be in May.
May.
and Desolation in May.
We want to do Desolation in April.
Mm-hmm.
We have a reason, but we won't go into it now. But Jaded in May also has like a nice little ring, just because it's about government stuff.
Yeah.
So it just felt good that in May is like a good time frame for that.
They make you watch murders.
Yeah.
Fuck the government. That's why I'm all fucked up.
Yeah, no joke, dude.
That's why I'm retired. They mentally fucked me up. It's okay.
100% disabled.
Me too.
You guys are too funny. But trust me, I wouldn't want to watch people get killed every day. Sometimes I think about even police officers. I used to have this relative who was a EMT and he used to tell me like, Rob, if you saw the shit that I saw, man, at car accidents, it would fuck you up. I'm like, dude, I don't want to see that shit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see any of that crazy stuff, people getting hurt or killed or whatever.
That stuff was nuts.
So these singles, you said 7 to 9 singles by the end of the year. Will these be released in a package?
I think at the end of it all, we would
Like,
like
here's
to,
the
like,
EP of all the singles together.
That's kind of what we're kind of going for. We want to release everything as singles, just
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that it's like, I don't know about everyone else, but like there are times where I'll listen to something and I'll get like 3 songs in and then be like, my attention span disappears and
Sure.
then I'm done. So we don't want that to happen this time. So we put out a song, people listen to it. Oh, I like this song. Cool. Next month, put out another song. Oh, people like this one too. And then you get to listen to it. And so each song gets its own attention. At the end of it, in order to make it easier for people to just find everything, that way it's not like littered with singles, we're probably going to put it all together for an LP.
I would like to see that.
Yeah.
And maybe with like a surprise or two in that LP.
There you
too.
go, a cover or
And the reason
something,
why
yeah.
I wanted to put it like in an album is because like attention span, like it's gonna be new again. It's gonna be new again once it's in the album, and people are gonna like listen to it like from the start. So and just it's gonna be cool.
I'm one of those people. I'm super meticulous with my iTunes, so I already have like all my Voltreus stuff in one. I'm like, have to do the naming conventions and everything. So, but for some people who aren't like that, to have like, if they could download a record and kind of like the Solace EP, download a record and have all the tracks there in one place.
Well, plus on top of that, like it makes it even better because now there aren't like, oh, these songs didn't get the listens. It's like the entire entire album will have like an even distribution of listens because
You don't know, some people could have missed a single or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna add. Is what he mentioned is just like how like once we're at the end of it, you put like a nice little bow on it. All of the new people that you've acquired that have discovered you can now hear what we did at the beginning of the year. All that stuff is now wrapped together. It just makes sense.
Have you guys thought about or will part or as part of the strategic plan try to shop the EP or these singles to record labels? Is that important to you?
I think right now just getting our listens and getting people, to hear our stuff and getting the good following. I mean, we appreciate everybody that's followed us and supported us thus far. They've been doing an amazing job. And right now, I guess getting our music out there to the people is what's more important right now. But if that comes along, great.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like we're just enjoying the ride. Like that's the whole point, is that just enjoy the ride. Like I think all of us have made like this agreement that we want to make a difference. We don't want to just be musicians.
We're just a band.
We don't want to.
We play and party.
We're musicians. But we didn't want to do that. So that's why if like you look at a lot of shows, there's a lot of shows where we're doing like charity events, like the Children's Hospital San Antonio. We did a whole toy drive for them and stuff. Breast cancer. We did for burned down apartments and stuff. So right now we're just kind of enjoying the ride. But it's one of those things where if it happens, it happens. You know what I mean? So we're just going for the ride.
With it.
Yeah, we're not going to complain.
And if it happens, it happens.
Yep.
And again, those kind of things happen by fate too. There's so many good bands across the country, and don't get me wrong, record labels, independent labels. We were talking about Frozen Soul and Century Media, and I know Tyler, you and I have talked about Napalm Records, and all these labels, they're always scouting for new, hot, young, hardworking musicians and bands. who are good and who are dedicated. So we'll talk off camera a little bit about that. You know, I think you guys could be a band that could be signed. And the important thing for me, you know, if I was a musician, the important thing for me, if I got signed, would just that the music would be out there.
Yeah.
If it's important for you to people to listen to your music, then getting signed and getting the distribution is the most important thing. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of times now, you know, bands are recording their stuff so well. Back in the day, like if a band got signed, the first thing they would say is like, okay, we're going to hook you up with this producer. You're going to go record your shit. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, bands are coming to the table with like, our shit's already produced badass, you know? Yeah. So all they have to do is just package it and distribute it and, you know, send you on the road, give you some touring money and you're on the road to help sell records. And, you know, if you sign with an international label like Napalm, you know, they might say, oh, come tour in England, come tour in Germany.
And that would also like broaden our ability to do more with like charity stuff that we wanted to do. So
sure.
It's like something that is the goal for sure.
Sure.
But like, yeah, just get bigger. The bigger we get, the better we can give back. And so that was like the big point.
Sure. I messaged you guys earlier this month. I loved the Blur video.
Yeah.
Dude, the video came out great. Yeah, I think I commented about it, and then you said like, "Oh, that was Fern's friend."
It was very cold that day.
Yes, I jumped in water like 9 times to try to get the right shot, and it was like 20.
9 times just to get the right shot.
It was like 20 degrees outside, and I'm like freezing.
Where were y'all at?
So, do you know the Kelly Air Force Base? So there's like a bunch of like little abandoned like warehouses, and my friend Chris, who I've known since middle school, and we've been friends ever since. He shoots cars, and that's what he does for like a living, is video cars, like driving by and stuff. and he was like, dude, let me shoot a music video for you. And I was like, we're not ready, because he asked me this when Solace was released, because we were talking about it, but like we just, I don't know why we didn't do it. I don't think we were ready. So I was like, hey dude, do you want to do Blur? He was like, sure. So then he showed us this place, and
then I had to sweet talk security.
And what about like what about like all the lights and stuff? He had all the lights and everything.
Yeah. He borrowed that from his friend.
Yeah, those lights were cool, and I think the way that he like implemented the lighting and the shadows, and you know the different types of shots he got. I thought it was great.
Yeah, he's super talented at what he does, for sure.
I mean, he not only just like I'm sure he videoed it all, and then just edited it like that.
Yeah. What was it? G Chris FX.
Yeah, G Chris FX.
Yeah, I definitely need to check him out. Instagram.
That's the name of his company.
TikTok.
Yeah, G Chris FX.
Tell these people out there so that they can.
So it's G Chris FX on TikTok and on Instagram. He's like super famous on TikTok. He has like 50K on.
Wow.
Yeah. So like, yeah.
Wow. And people like his car videos? Is that what they watch?
That's what he's known for.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Like cars? Like badass cars?
Like anytime you have like that drone coming overhead, or like it's going like the side panel shots, like stuff you'd see in a video game when they're showing off the cool cars on that panel. Like he's going to go to the top. He's like professional with it. And I don't think he like uses a whole lot of stuff to knock out like these superb videos.
Yeah, I like talking about him because he's cool. He shot for Roush, you know, like Roush, like Ford and whatever. He shot for them. So like he's like top notch. So.
Dude, the thing that sold me on him was that like he sent me a video, and he was like, "Do you like this video?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is pretty badass." And he goes, "Well, this car actually doesn't have a bumper." And I was like, "What do you mean it doesn't have a bumper? I see it right there." He's like, "No, that's all effects." And it looks perfect. It looks like it is on that car. Like, and I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that works for me."
Wow. So he's like not only just shooting, he's doing like graphic stuff.
Yeah, he's really good at what he does.
Wow.
Oh, that day was kind of crazy though, because we were outside for 5 hours that day.
I think it was longer than that.
It was like 5 or 6 hours. It was like 20 degrees outside, and it was like he had his drums. We didn't have any of the guitar or bass hooked up at all, so we're just playing to the drums. And then I wanted to make sure that my vocals and like the way I came off on the camera, I wanted to make sure that it was like natural. So I screamed everything over the drums as we were going for like 6 hours straight. And it was like 20 degrees outside, nice and cold. I had jumped in water a couple of times, but we just kept going.
It's like the first scene in the video. You can see him step in water, and he like flips the camera and does like a 360. And, like, back
Yeah, I think we probably ended up doing it. Front somersault twist. I don't know. I think we probably ended up doing it like 40 to 50 times the whole song, and it was just like, all right, you guys ready? We're gonna go. Like, he was super professional with it, and he had a bunch of ideas. He was very receptive and open to like stuff that we were doing and responsive to like what we thought would be cool. And it just was like a very fluid, natural experience. And it was funny with the security guards when they came up. Like, we saw the lights, and I was just like, uh-oh. And then they actually said, yeah, y'all can stay and this record.
So the security.
So like you guys have permission to be there?
So this is what happened. So him and I showed up early, and so he was parked in front of me, and I just parked like behind him, right? And so we saw another car come up, and I'm like, oh, it's Ferni. You know, I didn't look at the car. I thought it was like him showing up, right? And all of a sudden, some dude walks up to my window, and I'm thinking it's Ferni. So I'm like, hey, oh, hi. And it was security, and he goes, why are you guys here? And I'm like, we're waiting for some people so that we can film some videos and stuff like that. And he goes, oh. And he's like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah.
He was a military guy?
It was just security. It was just security. And I was like, so, like, yeah, we're not doing anything weird. We're just, like, shooting a music video. And he goes, oh, okay. And I was like, are we okay to be here? And he goes, yeah, that's fine. You guys aren't going to be stealing copper, right? And I was like, no, because there's a lot of copper in there. And so people will break in.
Yeah.
Well, they don't know the actual place. So, but like, so they have a problem with that. And so they showed up while we were going, we had taken a break, and they showed up, and they're like, how long are y'all going to be here for? And we told them, and they're like, stay as long as you want. Just do whatever you need to. You guys sound good. So we're like, we didn't have guitar or bass up. And they sat there and watched us go through this song like 3 or 4 times before they were like, hey, we'll be back at like midnight. We'll check up on you guys then and stuff. And we were gone by midnight, but it was like 11:30. We finally got out of there.
It's cool.
Yeah. It was fun. It was a fun experience. I never had anything.
Will you guys do any more videos, you think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see more videos. Because I think honestly, you know, the performance is really one of the things that kind of has attracted people to Voltreus. So if you guys can put out, the performance video for Blur was great, but even some more performance, maybe if you want to mix it up with a storyline or something like that.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I wanted to do for Separatum, but it didn't really happen because I guess like the time that we're releasing it is so close to Blur. And but no, for Desolation, we're talking about doing something. So
some acting.
Maybe.
Oh, no.
Maybe. But we need to get a good actor.
Yeah.
So if there's actors out there, let me know. Let me know. Anyways, well, you're a good actor.
Yeah, you guys can do it.
No.
You're just acting like
You're just acting like a good actor.
We've talked about. I've kind of shared that I kind of feel the band is really, on a great streak of momentum right now. Lots of kind of cool things seem to be happening, great music, great shows. I see your fans at your shows coming out to support. You're on Rob's.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You guys also won the battle of the Vakken for this year, which was cool because you played it last year and then you played it this year, and now obviously you made an impression with the judges, and now you have an opportunity to kind of continue down that path and see what happens. So how did you guys feel about first of all, how did you feel about the performance at the Vakken battle? Did you feel, hey, we did enough to kind of win?
So honestly, like I'm gonna level with you. The Walk-In 2022, I was furious with myself. I was absolutely furious. There was 2 times when my voice broke and like the choruses were erased from the entire song. So it's like that stayed as a chip on my shoulder. And so building up to Walk-In this coming year or like this year, that was like we're gonna go. Let's do this. And so going up there and performing, we felt so good about our performance. We felt like that was probably our best show we've ever had, like we've ever performed.
Why though? Why?
Because I did spins on stage.
Yeah.
I felt like we had a lot to prove. And you went to the show the week before, and that one we felt was our best show then.
Yeah.
And then the next week, it was just everything dialed in perfectly for us, and we felt like lots to prove, but we weren't nervous about proving it because we knew we had it.
Yeah.
And so that was I felt like that was the reason why we were so confident.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a very passionate endeavor for both of like everybody else, and my like quintessential moment with that was like the ending it when we're all putting it together. He always does different stuff live. We all kind of like vary it up a little bit, but he started hitting those toms like dun 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 right before the breakdown for Desolation, and we let it hang just a little bit longer, and then we really just wailed into that and just like nailed it in there. And I felt like that like sealed it. Like if anybody had any doubt, not anymore. Like we're coming for you. And it was just like, ooh, it just like had me so hyped. I already knew. I was like staring at the other bands before the show, like psyching him out. And then he was like, we will crush you to like random people.
Real quick.
You will lose.
Real quick, like before that,
Remember who says that? What was his name? Drago. Drago says that right. You will lose.
Like before walk-in, like after our show that you came to for our Blur release, Nate from Scum.
Yeah, he was there.
He does our sound.
Yeah,
a lot of, like 9 times out of 10, if you're watching us perform live, you're seeing him do our sound.
Oh,
for
really?
Us. Yeah, and so he was there, and so I walked up to him after the show because I was like, man, we had a great show, and I jokingly walked up to him and was like, I will crush you. and he knew exactly what I was talking about. He just laughed, and then I sent that I did a sound clip of that, and I sent it to every single band on the walk-in like set, and I did it to like a single member each, and they all took it. They all knew I was just kidding with them and stuff like that, but it was all fun.
Like, I mean, I knew we won. I'm not gonna. So like, I had 2 friends at the show, and they both text me, "Y'all won. Y'all won." No, not even just like in the show right there. Y'all won.
Right.
I was like, okay. I mean, I felt like it was
and
good,
there was some good bands on there.
Yeah,
Scum,
like some of my favorite local bands in Relent.
Scar. Do you guys know the Scars of the Flesh guys, or know anything about them? Yeah, Brian Eckerman and his band. They're. I mean, even though they're like a very heavy genre, still very, very talented bands.
Yeah, like it's really touching for me because I genuinely feel like the people that we went up against are some of my favorite acts from San Antonio. Like I would love to tour the world with Scum. They kick butt every single time I play with them. Their energy is like unreal, and I just love. They always bring it every single time, and they kind of have like a similar kind of flow, like what we're trying to get into with all the electronic stuff like that. They've been kicking butt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, love Scum too. But you know, I think you guys have a great plan, staying out there in front of people and always kind of delivering something new. And you got the thing is too, like I'm glad you like we already have our year planned out. That's great because you have to maintain the momentum. Scum was on a high momentum, and then I've just kind of, to me, they just kind of dropped off for a little bit. I haven't really heard much from them. And I would love to see them continue the momentum, but you have to have the plan. You know, you have to plan and execute the plan. Very good.
We also have like some plans for the end of the year too.
Yeah, we do.
Hopefully, if all goes well, we might go on tour.
Yeah, great.
Like a 11 date tour.
Yeah, so that'd be great.
Yeah, I might need some advice from you as an educator because like I'm gonna try not to get sick for the whole year and then use all my sick days for like that last but I just don't know if there's like a better way to do that. Maybe we could talk about that after.
Principal, way in advance.
Yeah, like way in advance, but I can't be like my band's going on a tour, so I'm not gonna be here.
Well, you don't have to tell them. You don't have to tell them why.
I broke my leg or something.
I'm gonna. No,
in August, I'm gonna teach your brain.
I'm gonna propose to my girlfriend in Hawaii. There you go.
Oh, maybe. I don't like to be dishonest, but I really just want to like be able to do that. And so,
and it can be challenging.
And before your principal watches Rob MetalWorks and goes,
exactly.
No, that dude, that motherfucker's lying. To
He's
me.
lying. I got him.
He's going on tour. Win.
Oh, really, Devin? Devin, watch
Nathaniel,
this.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but
watch this. You need to take your request to HR, please. It's all good. Well, that's great. I mean, touring, for an underground band can be challenging because obviously you're going to be hitting new markets and you're not known there. And then, sometimes promoters in other markets don't really promote. So, it'll be a learning experience and it'll be tough, but I mean, I think it's great. I mean, it's important for bands to kind of break out because I think, not that you guys have hit the pinnacle in San Antonio, but I kind of foresee that maybe at a point you will. And then there comes a point where you have to outgrow this market, your own market, and be, kind of like a regional entity or a worldwide entity to people. And, it's a lot easier nowadays to do that because of social media and the internet. But, to go out to play different markets and still have a following in those places too. If you guys could build a following in Houston or fucking in Lubbock, wherever, but that's how you're going to do it, one show at a time.
Yep.
And it takes a lot of hard work, man. So I'm excited for you. I think as young cats, you guys can go out there and do it and make an impact. And one of the cool things too, and I'll share this with you guys, and this is not true with a lot of bands sometimes, so some bands that I meet, you guys are very likable dudes too. You're like very cool dudes. Like, you're good looking cats, I wouldn't be afraid as a fan to come up and say hi. And
all right, you got to tell me something now.
What the heck?
Oh no.
We've been told that we are the best looking band in San Antonio.
Oh god.
So yeah, it's a fly. It's a ego. But yeah, so you got to tell us.
I'll put a poll on my social media.
There we go. Are we
Who's
the best looking band in San Antonio?
Yeah, Fern, there you go.
Yeah,
Fern.
this guy.
Yeah. No, you guys are good looking cats, man, and no, more than that. I mean, you guys are nice dudes and good people, and I think fans can also relate to that. I mean, honestly, I talk about this. I teach business, and I talk about this all the time when I talk to my kids. A lot of them who want to be entrepreneurs, and I said, man, I talk about relationship development, and relationship development is like, having, people are going to buy shit from people that they like, right? Yeah. I never bought something from someone I didn't like. So, if your fans like you as people, then they're gonna fucking follow you.
I don't like you. I'm gonna buy something from you.
Exactly.
Steal something from you.
Exactly.
I
I'm
don't
gonna
like you.
rip off your trailer. I'll call my hood friends to come rip off your trailer. And it's so funny you talked about the tour, because that was gonna be one of my final questions. Is like, what do you have planned for shows for the rest of the year? Like, how many, do you want to play out a lot? And I think too, you have to be strategic with that, because there's some bands, that they just play out too fucking much, and I'm not going to say any names. I will off camera if you guys want to know, but there's some bands like they just play out too much. And it's like, after a while, it's like, like I told, it's like if you eat you love chocolate cake, but if you eat it every fucking day, you get sick of it.
Yeah.
Kind of the same concept.
Which we went on a big stretch of run this in February. We did like 4 shows. One was in Austin, 3 of them were in San Antonio, and they were all like back to back. But we had like new equipment that we wanted to try out before we open up for Gideon next month. So that was like, we wanted to make sure everything was dialed in. We knew what we needed, and so and I think we've gotten that. And now we'll walk-in. So it was good that we did what we did, so that way everything was ready for the walk-in state final next month.
Well, I'm glad that you're kind of, doing Austin and stuff. Austin's an important market. It's a close market. I think the Valley could be a good place for you guys. I think that would be and in Corpus too. Those scenes are up and coming. They're not San Antonio scenes, but they have a lot of fans out there, and they're very underground too. So yeah, man, it's good. So I look forward to seeing you guys. Stay busy, guys. As we end out this interview, is there anything I missed? Anything that we should have talked about that I didn't mention?
I don't think so. I think you said you wanted me to do a scream on camera.
Oh yeah, go for it. I forgot about that.
What type of scream you want from me?
There was this. I can't remember. Right now, I'm already like, I can't remember what song it is, but there's a song and there's a scream. It kind of sounds like you're vomiting.
Maybe the flutteral?
I think that's it.
Was it Blur? Like that?
I think so. Like, yeah! What the fuck?
Yeah, it's
Are
just,
you getting that, JB? What? Oh my god! And then do the other one. Do the other one. Like that one.
Oh.
Dude, Like nobody I know does that, and I've been doing this for a long time. Dude,
You're weird.
Yeah, you're strange. No, that
like
flutteral.
seriously, bro.
The flutteral that I did, actually, I don't really know anyone that does that actually, and so I moved to Florida with my family like a long time ago, and my dad is a professional fisherman, and so every time he'd want to go scope out a lake, he'd take me and my brother with him. And so during croc mating season or gator mating season, you hear stuff like that on a regular basis. And so as I started to learn to scream more, that and watching a little too much Jurassic Park, I was like, I wonder if I could like take that growl that
was from
animals do.
what's the name of the dinosaur that does that?
For that one, it was, I think I got that from the T-Rex when he like breathes in.
Gator sex and T-Rex.
Gator sex and T-Rex.
Damn.
But
Wow, yeah, that dude, seriously, and I think too, like those are like signatures now of Voltreus, like the signature sound.
that and that pig squeal I do now, which I wanted to do something different because a lot of people do pig squeals. And
Let me
stuff,
see, do
but
it. Let me see. Can
I
you do
took
it?
that tunnel throat and the pig squeal and I combined them. So the tunnel throat is the and then the pig squeal would be the right. So I took those together and I combined them to be one scream. So instead of like it goes.
Wow.
So what you're hearing, that's what you're hearing in Blur, is me doing like puffing my cheeks up and just
Wow.
I taught him that.
I taught him that.
What did like Lima say when he first saw you do that? Did he say anything?
It was funny because like I looked this.
What did Lima say?
That one was like he literally was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
everyone else, because I was the last to go, and so like I was like, all right, and he's like, run through a song, warm up, and let's go. And I was like, okay, cool. And so I did separatum as the warm up. So at the beginning, it's like, we have no savior, blasphemous traitor. And so when I did that, he was like, he literally in my ears, I hear, what the fuck? As I'm like going through the song. It was great.
I can imagine. He's never heard shit like that. Not like that. Wow. I've never heard shit like that. Like I said, and I've met a lot of fucking crazy vocalists, but that's cool, dude. That's so cool. And
We got the pretty singing.
yeah. That's you, Fernie.
I also want to like give some praise to this guy over here because he does his like practice that he does for it to be able to obtain such crazy stuff. He gets his ideas and he just guns for it. He says he does 10 hours a day of vocals every day.
Well, he's pulling it off pretty fucking seamlessly here.
Tell him about that.
That's pretty fucking seamless the way you throw it out.
In April will be my 2-year mark doing vocals, like properly. And when I joined the band was when I started doing vocals, no more guitar.
Did you ever get any lessons or anything?
I did, at the very beginning I did, to like harness my original sound.
Right.
So how I scream lows now is not the way I was taught. How I scream highs, not the way I was taught either. I just kind of figured out what I wanted to do with my sound versus what he was doing with his. Great vocalist he is, but I wanted to do things my own way. And so the biggest thing is practice. You just practice and practice, but the big problem with screaming and practice is that you can wear yourself out real easily. So what I do is I do whisper practicing. Like, it depends on the day, sometimes 5 hours, sometimes 10 hours a day, where I'll just be whispering into different shapes with my mouth to figure out what sound is going to come from that, because singing carries a note, right? Mm-hmm. Screaming carries a pitch, not a note. Whispering also carries a pitch. So you can kind of gauge what's going to happen with your vocals when you use it to whisper. So by the time I'm done doing whisper practices and it's time for me to actually get a microphone, I already know what shapes I want to work on because I've already figured out what that sound is going to be through whispering. And so that's been like the biggest thing for me. It's just throughout the day, I'll be walking down the street and doing it, and people will look at me weird. I don't care. Like, I'm perfecting my craft. Y'all can think I'm weird. That's fine.
You talked about, like, I remember that when you said that, like, one of the first times I was with the band, I blew my voice out.
Yep.
So you don't do that. You don't blow your voice out anymore.
Nope. I did the very first show we had. I had vocal pain, and that's because I pushed too hard.
Right.
So from that point, I was like, that'll never happen again. That will never happen again. And
is that because your mic is too low, or you just need to turn it up, or
No,
what?
it's because I have a really bad stage fright. really bad stage fright.
Really?
And so when I first hop on stage for the very first time, my thought was give everything that you have now. And so I pushed way too hard.
Yeah.
And but that's when I was like, nope, you learned.
Yeah.
Don't do that again.
Yeah.
And so I haven't. And I wouldn't be where I am if these guys didn't push me on a regular basis. Like 9 times out of 10, you hear a vocal that I've done, it's because one of these guys were like, hey, what if you tried doing this? So it really helps to have like a band that might not know the terminology, but can at least understand where I'm coming from as a vocalist. That can go, hey, try this. And so that's been really helpful too.
That's cool, man. That's so cool. Because all of you guys have your instruments, but your voice is your body, so you have to know how to kind of control it and not damage yourself. We hear about vocalists like blowing their voices out and hurting themselves, and it takes time for them to recover. Some people don't really recover as well. They have to have surgery. Like remember Shadows from Avenged Sevenfold had to have surgery on his voice and stuff like that.
And Matt from Trivium and Matt from Bullet from Valentine, like they've all had. Oh, Trivium, I don't own Ollie as well, but Trivium didn't get the surgery, but he blew his voice out.
Yeah, he was hurt.
Oh, and Gino, during like the second album, going into White Pony.
Yeah, cool. Okay, guys, as we end out, I want to give each of you an opportunity to say shout out your thank yous, your love, anything to anyone, and on the back end, front end, anybody. Just share your love.
I want to thank everybody that shows up and supports us every single time we go to a show.
You're crazy fucking fans.
Crazy.
Those little huerquitos, they're crazy.
They get wild out there.
They do, dude. Backs, I had to fucking move because they were like, fucking. Man, I thought they were gonna crash into my camera.
Definitely the family. Definitely all of our families for supporting. For
sure.
It means a lot.
I gotta thank like my roommates because I own my house, but they've since they moved in, like I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them and my girlfriend, who literally I was done. I was like, I don't want to do music anymore. And then he reached out to me and I was like, nah. And he had reached out to me before, but like he said, for a different band. And I told him no at that point because I was doing something different. But like I had told you no at first, didn't I, for Voltreus?
Yeah.
And then my girlfriend was like, I was like doing math homework. And my girlfriend's like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I just got an offer. And she's like, well, go do it. Like, you can't just say no without trying out and seeing what they're about and stuff. And so I got to thank that. Thank her
for that.
Oh, yeah. And my family isn't here. They're in Florida, Virginia, and out in Vegas. And so really, like, they've been super supportive from far away. If they could be at our shows, I know they would. But, yeah, it's a lot of thanks for that, too.
From what I've heard, how you speak about them, it seems like you're really close with your family.
I was adopted twice.
And that's great.
So that's, like, it's really
Very
nice to
important,
have the family that supports me now, So, yeah, I definitely want to thank them.
Cool.
Yeah. And I want to thank my dad because he's been to, like, every show, like, in-town show. He's been to, like, every show. Him and my little sisters, like, they're, like, super fans. Like, they love us.
I'd like to meet your dad.
Yeah, you can meet my dad.
Your dad's probably... Is your dad my age? Is he younger than you?
I think he's your age.
Yeah.
He's like you like my dad.
Yeah.
Y'all be great friends. And then my mom, because growing up, like, I wasn't quiet. I play guitar. So, like, I had that thing, like, all the way to 11. To 11. And, and we lived in an apartment as well. So, like, I would annoy, like, the neighbors and stuff. But my mom worked at the apartment, so I can do whatever I want, right?
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. So, I guess I could say I'm getting choked up, but it's really, I just had a crack there. But I'm very humble because I feel like I'm thankful for literally everybody who got me to where I am in this seat, like right now. Every one of these guys has given me a ride to somewhere or done something. My parents are like the main reason that I got into metal and like just music in general. And then, like, these guys have helped me through college and my hardships there. Definitely my girlfriend, Katie. She's, like, always there and so super supportive. His family houses us for every practice. Like, all the magic happens because they're so awesome. They always show up. They always motivate us. They're very wise. And, yeah, even out of town, like, they really, like, go the extra mile. I'd say that I have, like, 3 dads because his dad got me, like, his old bass. He said he's passing the torch. And, like, I'm like, you're my dad now. And so... And then like his dad, like he gave me the opportunity to like wash trucks with him too, and that's like helps me out so much financially. Like it's really made or break my situation. Like I was able to graduate college, and like I'm still here because of everything that everybody does for me every day, and so it does not go unnoticed.
You want a fourth dad?
You want to be my dad? I'm taking applications. You got it. I don't know.
I'll be your dad.
That's great, guys. Every day count your blessings. Sometimes, I've had conversations in my personal life with people who, things may not be going well, but I say count your blessings. Think about all the good things. There's people who are out there and they're really suffering. And you have to remember, that you have a good life. You're able to live your art. And again, I think that this group, you guys together, is a blessing in and of itself. Absolutely. Is a blessing.
Yeah.
That you guys are together and have been able to build Voltreus into something powerful. And I think the bond and the foundation and everything that you go through is just going to get bigger and better and stronger. So you guys are on a good path, man. So happy to have you guys here. Thank you guys. Okay.
Appreciate
thank you, everybody.
Us,
yeah. What a great chat. We've talked about a lot. So, and this interview and your presence in our scene now will live forever through Rob's MetalWorks. So, thank you guys for coming. I hope we're going to continue to jam a little bit of music.
Oh, yeah.
Because I want to share some music with you guys. Remember, everyone out there, the band has new singles out there in the market. Be sure to look for Relinquish and Blur and Separatum. Will probably be out a little bit after you watch this interview. And check them out and get them on your phone at all your favorite music media outlet. You saw the band Voltreus only right here on Rob's MetalWorks.